play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
What's going on there? Dustin's out here. I don't know what's going on.
One second, you guys. Test. Can you guys hear me now? Hopefully you guys can hear me now and it's a little bit clearer. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was pretty crazy. But hello. How you doing tonight? Hi, Debbie. Hi, Tia. Hi, Linda. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Richard. Hi, Matt. Hi, let's see, who else? Rodney. Brenda. How you guys all doing tonight? Yeah, I do not know what's going on with the audio there. There's something wrong with my mic, obviously, but got that fixed. A lot going on in the world. Of course, a lot going on everywhere. As we follow what's happening in the world, it's just getting worse, literally, every time we turn around. Real News Live temporarily is hijacked by some hacker in Vietnam until we get it back from Facebook. So, unfortunately, the only donation links that are available are the ones pinned in chat. When you go to the link tree, there's only two ways to donate. One's PayPal, and one's the donate right on the top. Both those are going to the charity. Of course, we already issued a check to provide the meals for the 300 families this year. So we definitely need to raise that money still. We only raised about $300 and something of that. So 300 families at $39 a family, 39 change. So it's a little bit harsh. Hold on one second, guys. It's a little bit harsh out there. Sorry about that. Definitely need to raise money as much as possible. Of course, something's going to keep walking behind me. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that was like $1,100 already out of the account. $11,000, sorry. Almost $12,000. Sorry about that. Had to get the door. Go let the eating, take care of Grandpa. A lot going on, though. We're going to talk about what's going on in the war because it's important for people to understand what's happening. The war between Israel and Hamas has raised fears around the globe, even here at home. Fatal stabbing in Illinois, gun pointed at protesters in Pennsylvania, vandalism at synagogues, harassment of staff at Palestinian restaurants, all raising fears that war between Israel and Hamas is sparking violence here in the U.S. As tensions, of course, follow a familiar pattern of crimes against Jewish and Muslim communities rising when the conflict erupted, of course, in the Middle East. America has been killed, have been killed and taken hostage. A two-pronged threat to American faith communities at this point. It's very sad watching this unfold here in the United States. But what's unfolding overseas is even worse. Don't make fun of my shorts. You weren't supposed to see those. Unfortunately, the aide doesn't speak English, so she just keeps banging on the doors. But watching everything that's happening, these bombs that Israel's been bombing the region drastically, aid still unable, after, of course, Israel bombed the region where civilians were told to flee to. That's right. Israel bombed areas in southern Gaza today where it had told Palestinians to go ahead of expected ground invasion in northern Gaza. So they're evacuated. These people are evacuated. And then, of course, they get attacked by Israel as well. They just get bombed. Killing dozens of people today in attacks that were targeting, of course, saying Hamas militants that besieged the territory, that ruled the besieged territory. There's no food, no water, no fuel being delivered to Gaza since Hamas's brutal attack on Israel last week. They were trying to say the UN sent a package in, but they didn't. I mean, this is crazy. People are struggling there. They don't have anything. Massive amounts of supplies are ready to go in. And increasing disparity of the civilians. I mean, this is crazy. President Joe Biden plans to go to Israel, which is a joke. But today in the bombings, Israel bombed a hospital, killing hundreds of people in a hospital, South Gaza, on the Gaza Strip. A A massive blast rocked Gaza City Hospital, packed with wounded and other Palestinians seeking shelter today, killing hundreds of people. Crazy. This is absolutely insane. At least 500 people were killed when they decided to destroy a hospital. I don't condone what Hamas did. I definitely do not condone killing of innocent civilians. And we know why. We know why it's happening, because this is revenge. But watching massive amounts of civilians in a hospital get killed, we're pushing the region to a brink. We wonder why, of course, there's threats coming from Iran and now Lebanon and Egypt. The war has to stop with respect to humanity. The humanity of Palestinians and the others delivering aid, they deserve it as well. It's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, White House has nothing to say about it. The president doesn't make a comment, doesn't care. Even Palestinian medics in Gaza are struggling to save lives under Israel's siege and bombardments. For hours and hours, one of the paramedics dug through rubble of a demolished home to find survivors of an Israel airstrike, throwing it in a vest in a desperate search to try to find these people. The shortage of crucial supplies, the sheer scope of destruction across not only Gaza Strip, but most of Gaza altogether. Rescue workers and their colleagues are struggling and praying as they pry lifeless bodies from concrete and twisted metal where residential towers once stood. The death toll is going to keep rising at this point. It's not going to slow down anytime soon. Israel's bombardment, of course, after Hamas launched its bloody, unprecedented attack on October 7th, has killed over 2,700 Palestinians today, many of them women and children. This is a true humanitarian crisis. They need a ceasefire, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. And it's only going to get worse as Hezbollah firefighters from Hezbollah were killed today as tensions flare along the border between Lebanon and Israel. So they were in Lebanon, just to let you guys know. The clash erupted early this morning along Lebanon's Israel border that left 5 Hezbollah fighters dead, marking the largest number of casualties for a militant group since the single day as the tensions, of course, with Israel are escalating. Hezbollah, of course, is the group I'm afraid of drawing them directly into this war. Now we know Hamas's militant group is bad, but getting Hezbollah in there would be even worse. Hezbollah said there's 10 deaths since the skirmish began. So, of course, if they start to fire missiles at our aircraft carriers and strike groups that are there in the Mediterranean, it's going to be a serious problem. This war is on the homes of these people. I mean, Israel's troops near the northern border with Lebanon, of course, said if Hezbollah makes a mistake, it will be annihilated. Hezbollah is not a small group like Hamas, not a limited group. This group, of course, spans many Arab nations, including Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. This is something people need to understand. The U.S. is, of course, sending more ships heading towards Israel amidst the 2,000 troops that are already deployed there, and the 2,000 are high alert, ready to deploy. U.S., of course, within hours of the October 7th attack, the U.S. began moving warships and aircraft carriers to the region, ready to provide Israel with whatever it needs to respond. But more ships and forces are heading towards Israel now, with other troops in the U.S. preparing for deployment if called on. One U.S. aircraft carrier, the strike group, has already been there in the eastern Mediterranean. The second one has left the U.S. and heading that way. 3 Marine warships are moving into the region. Scores of aircraft were dispatched from U.S. military bases around the Middle East. American Special Operation Forces are working with Israel military and planning intelligence. Well, like I said, they pulled out of a training exercise early, and now the U.S. military is admitting they are there in Israel. Finally, today. Of course, they've been there since the 7th. Nobody talked about that. Nobody wants to mention it because that means the U.S. would have to admit that we have troops on the ground immediately. Watching shipment of U.S. weapons, 5 shipments of U.S. weapons, of course, and equipment have arrived in Israel today. The bill that reflects the U.S. growing concern that the deadly fighting between Hamas and Israel will escalate into a wider regional conflict. So the key mission, of course, supposedly for American ships and warplanes, because we just send them there for nothing. We don't plan on a war when we send massive amounts of troops and equipment. Is to establish a large visible presence that will deter Hezbollah, Iran, and others from taking actions in the situation. I'm not sure if that's the truth there. I'm just wondering who's going to strike first with nuclear weapons here. That's the true question. Biden supposedly going to Israel. We'll see if he goes tomorrow or not. This is crazy. The U.S. response and surrounding Israel in a massive warship with a massive array of warships and moving towards the eastern Mediterranean and the Red Sea. This is crazy. Boarding major strike groups. There'll be 3 of them there within the next couple of days. 3 major strike groups. The one that left Korea, and of course the one that left the U.S., and the one that's there now. It's just crazy. And Special Operation Forces being on the ground, and B-52s being loaded with heavy ordnance and leaving the U.S. yesterday? Where are they going? All this happening, of course, amongst what's happening on the ground there in Gaza Strip. Many more deliveries of U.S. arms and smart bombs are supposed to be going there as this war just intensifies day by day. It's only a matter of time before we have Syria or Iran involved. As posing a threat to U.S. ground forces, they're easily able to shoot down Turkish drones. Watching this is just crazy. As Biden's 4-way summit with Arabic leaders, that could have, of course, quelled some of this speculation that these groups could, of course, join together with Hezbollah, was called off because he's heading to Israel, supposedly. More than 1 million people have fled their homes in the Gaza Strip ahead of course, the expected Israel invasion. And then Israel bombed them. When they told them where to go, they killed them where they sent them. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not pro-Hamas. But this is a true humanitarian crisis. As aid groups, of course, warn Israel ground defense that the humanitarian crisis they're causing is getting worse. This is sad. I cannot believe they bombed a hospital, bombing people that evacuated. Yeah, where is BK? I know BK was waiting for us to go live. I do not see him in here, though. But watching this unfold is just getting worse. And it's only going to get worse from that. Because U.S. today, Ukraine had a major strike on Russian airfields in Russia, thanks to us for providing long-range missiles. That's right. Attack of missiles cost about $1.5 million apiece. We've sent many of them to Ukraine. Ukraine started using them to carry out one of the most destructive attacks on Russian air assets since the beginning of the war. Ukraine president saying that the assault used long-range ballistic missiles donated by the U.S., making sure he said donated by the U.S. They're not taking refugees for a reason, and we'll get into that later this week. I don't want to go into it right now because I got to verify some more information. But watching this announcement, Zelensky, hours after the U.S. officials revealed that long-range missiles sought for months by Kiev, promised by Joe Biden, have been delivered quietly, being used in the battlefield today, destroying 9 Russian helicopters at 2 airfields in Russian-occupied regions, and a nighttime attack on targets in eastern and southern Ukraine, of course, and Russian territory as well. Also hit military equipment, air defenses, ammunition warehouses, and runways. Dozens of Russian military personnel were injured in the attacks. Of course, this operation is not going to go unnoticed by Putin. And we know what Putin already said. He drew a hard line if any attacks happened within Russian soil because of long-range missiles that the U.S. provided, or the U.S. directly were involved with. Sending attack on missiles there was a bad promise. Israel did bomb a hospital today. I seen the video. It was a long-range, heavy missile that hit that hospital. One missile destroyed a huge hospital. So it definitely was. You can't share the videos because they will immediately flag them and pull them down because you are not allowed to share them. But the weapons development, of course, piles pressure on Kremlin on both sides, looking for battlefield advantages ahead of winter. What is shaping up is a protracted war of attrition. Of course, if Russia does not decide to do the ultimate big red button, definitely be the start of the big one. Sending attack on missiles that can go as far as 180 miles to Ukraine, carrying cluster munitions, which are supposed to be against the Geneva Convention, which, of course, the U.S. did not sign, but Ukraine did. Were fired up on the air, releasing hundreds of bomblets rather than a single warhead. Ones delivered to Ukraine, of course, saying they only have a maximum range of 100 miles, but attack missiles have a 180-mile range. You wouldn't limit that. It says it's suspect because the U.S. won't allow the footage to be aired online. I will be putting it on Rumble, though. It is devastating when you see what's happened. Watching these, of course, statements. Russian authorities didn't comment on anything yet immediately, verifying, of course, what's happening or anything about Russia and what they're going to do next. As Russia, of course, is flying massive amounts of troops in, or moving massive amounts of troops in. Watching U.S. provided long-range missiles, and watching Ukraine claim they came from the U.S. is even worse. Yeah, they're trying to make Israel seem like they didn't do this, but there was multiple attacks on southern Gaza today. Besides, the hospital was in the Gaza Strip, so technically they did tell them to evacuate. I'll give them that. But the dozen of airstrikes that also happened in southern Gaza today, where they told them to evacuate too, is also devastating. But watching this war unfold on 2 fronts, in Ukraine, of course, and in Israel and Gaza right now in the Middle East, this war front is going to go critical. One way or another, one of these countries are going to make this a critical strike. People need to wake up. Both sides are pushing for war. They got to have a war now to alleviate the national debt. I mean, you can look at the debt crisis that's happening in our country, and not just our country, but countries around the globe. This is becoming real, a real problem. Let's talk about this. Should the U.S. reject Gaza refugees? And why countries, of course, are rejecting Gaza refugees? As you need to understand, these people do not want to leave their homes. The Palestinian refugees, of course, supposedly refugees, fleeing Gaza. They don't want to flee Gaza. They don't want to leave their homes. They're being forced to. This isn't anti-American or anti-Semitic or anti-Israeli. It's not. It's not anti-Muslim. The truth is, these people do not want to leave. The reason we're seeing travel bans prominently from Muslim countries like Syria, Somalia, Yemen, Libya, Lebanon, Egypt, is because these people don't want to leave. Yeah, they'll accept aid and help, food and water. This is their home. Their home that they've been pushed out of for so long. They've been isolated, neglected, told what to do and where to do. They left, they got kicked out of their homes, their families were killed. But of course, Gaza was made Gaza Strip. Got to remember, a lot of people won't realize this, but Israel was bought and paid for by Rothschilds back after World War II. Of course, in that same conscript, that area had both people of Israeli or Jewish faith and people, of course, of Muslim faith. And they used to trade off on babysitting each other's children. Of course, there was church, the other group was watching their children, and then the other group would go to church and they would watch their children. This is known information. Yeah, we need to keep ourselves out of this. I don't know if you screwed the audio. I am sorry if the audio is terrible. All I can do is just try to work with it. I really don't. But it's unheard of what's happening. It's only getting worse. Yeah, it was peaceful for a while. Everything's peaceful after they killed multiple people. For the 2 million residents living in Gaza now trying to survive Israel airstrikes, bracing for land assaults, they're landlocked, surrounded by blockades imposed by Israel and Egypt. These people have nowhere to go. They were told to go to the southern side of Gaza Strip, and airstrikes again hit them today. This is sad. Nobody may want them, but they're citizens. I'm not talking about the Hamas or the militarized people. I am talking about the citizens that should have the right to be free, be prosperous, have their own life goals. This is sad. If this was happening here in America, what would you feel like? Assaults on our soil are already happening. Stabbings, shootings, people pulling guns at protest. It's happening. The war that we, of course, weren't worried about is happening here. Fatal stabbing in Illinois, gun pointed at protesters in Pennsylvania, vandalism at synagogues, harassment of staff at Palestinian restaurants. It's happening. Sorry, totally stole that. It's a joke. Oh, I just wish my microphone would pick up my watching this unfold, of course. One border crossing that was open in Egypt has endured 4 bombings from Israel. And of course, this isn't a pro-Palestinian paper publishing this. This is an Egyptian paper, an Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said the Rafah border crossing between Egypt and Gaza has now endured 4 bombings from Israel today. Today. You know, they ordered them to go south. They can't even get relief in there. There's no safe passage for relief aid. None. There's no way to get anybody out across on either side of the border. It's just crazy. Leaving people with no water or food. I can understand electricity. Let's be human, though. They need to be able to drink. This is what we're facing, though. Wait until this war comes home. When it does, we're all going to have to deal with this. Sorry to say, but that's the way it is. Of course, if you guys want to donate, please use those links available on the bottom. Like I said, over $12,000 has been paid out. We only raised about $300 of that. So every penny counts. Receiving donations. We desperately need them at this point. But you can only donate through PayPal and, of course, the link through Linktree. Definitely appreciate every penny. Watch this unfold here abroad. It will unfold here in the United States as well. God bless you guys. And I will, of course, post the videos on Rumble of the attacks that happened today so people can actually see what happened. Because I know there's a lot of talk that the hospitals didn't get attacked. You know, it's all fluff or whatever they want to call it, but people need to see the truth. God bless you. God bless America. And of course, if you're not following us yet, please follow us. If you need to know how, it's pretty easy. I'll play a video for you, see how to do that real quick. Just follow along this video real quick and you can learn how to follow. So if you're joining us and you want to know how to follow the page, it's pretty easy. You hit the like button here. Then you're going to click these three dots, go down to follow. You're going to do this again. You're going to go down and hit follow again, and it's going to bring up this window. And to get notifications turned on, to make sure you get all the information from this feed or from our lives, you're going to go to all notifications on live feed. So video, all notifications, live feed, all notifications. And that'll give you everything that comes up when we go live. And of course, you can turn these all on so you can get all the information that you need to know up to date. Make sure you choose as a favorite so you make sure you get higher on your feed so you actually get our notifications. Because as you know, Facebook likes to shadow ban us. So once again, to follow, click this, go down to follow, which is going to say favorites afterwards. You're going to click. So that's pretty easy. Just follow along and hit that follow button. Of course, go back, follow again, and turn all notifications on live feeds. Otherwise, you won't get them. Good night. God bless you. And of course, God bless America. Be strong. Pray for those in need. See you guys tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. God bless.